I volunteered to show you guys some Savvy Mineral makeup tips and tricks. And so my face is entirely clean. I've washed it, I've prepped it, toned it, all that good stuff. Having good makeup, having your skin prepped is really critical for your makeup to look good. It's just, you have to have a clear canvas. You have to have a good foundation to put your makeup on top of. So I have washed my face, I've scrubbed, I've toned, I've used our facial serum, I have eye cream on, and I have my moisturizer. So all of that is on. You can kind of even see my eye cream. It's all shiny under here. Because I apply quite a lot, to be honest. Plus we've had a really busy season the last month or so, like family-wise, and I've been really kind of sleep deprived. So that was my first tip that I want to show you. So how you can deal with any puffs or darkness under your eyes. So the first thing is one that you don't think of, and it's actually not a Savvy Minerals product. It's our seedlings. This is the diaper rash cream, and I learned this trick from a Lindsay Elmore video, actually. She has quite a few makeup videos that you can check out on her page. So what you do is you just take a little bit of the diaper rash cream, and as you know, it's pretty white. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna kind of warm that up with your finger like that, and then you're gonna apply that all under here. So this has a couple good properties for you. It has the titanium zinc oxide in it, which is a skin protectant. But because of that white sheen it gives as well, it does help to deflect some of those dark circles. So I'm just applying that underneath. Okay, and I'm gonna let that sit for a few minutes. We're gonna cover that obviously with foundation, but I'm just gonna let that hang out. And because I was up north where the temperature is a little bit colder than what we're used to, I'm gonna do something a little different for my makeup today. And since this is a video about makeup tips and tricks, I wanted to share that with you. So I'm taking a little bit, about a pea-sized amount of my Sheer Lume. I believe that's out of stock right now, but you need to jump on that as soon as it becomes available, because I'm sure it's in one of the other skincare videos, but just the skincare benefits of that are pretty miraculous. So I'm gonna put that on the palm of my hand. I used to do makeup a long time ago, and so I use the back of my hand for everything. If you don't like that, get a little plate, or I've seen people even use those paint containers, you know, where you're painting and you put all the different colors in those paint containers. You could do the same thing with that. And then I am taking my Savvy Minerals. I wear in warm number 2. Sorry, that's backwards. So I'm gonna take a little bit of that as well onto my hand. And so what this is gonna do is I can actually mix that, and it creates a liquid foundation. Not a heavy coverage foundation, but it's going to give it a nice tinted moisturizer effect. And I'm just gonna apply this all over as like a base coat for my skin. I like to use my fingers a lot when I apply my makeup, just because the warmth of my hand helps to warm up the product and makes it go on better. This is only good if your hands are nice and clean and you don't have a lot of extra oils on your hands. If your hands are oily or dirty, you don't want to apply that to your face. So this just creates another smooth canvas for my skin. It hydrates my skin from being out in the colder weather than what we're used to, and just gives it a nice base coat, okay? You don't have to do that. It's not required. Nothing's gonna happen if you don't. It's just an option for you. Another thing that I like to do, if you have any blemishes or things that you want to conceal, again, take a little bit of your foundation in the cap of your lid And then use a sponge type applicator, and you're just gonna pat that on pretty heavy. I don't know if you can see, but I have not blended that in. Don't blend it in yet. And then I'm gonna do that to some of my other blemishes. My skin is not perfect. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do this video and was scared of doing this video, is because I am not your skin perfect model or anything like that. I am your normal. I deal with hormones and stress, and sometimes that comes out on my face. So I think a lot of people can relate to that. And so I thought this would be helpful. All right, so I'm using a little bit more foundation to actually do my regular makeup application. So if you have beautiful, flawless, happy skin, this is where you could start with your makeup application. So I'm using the foundation brush. I purchased the Savvy Minerals Starter Kit in warm number 2 because that's my shade. And so that comes with this makeup brush, or you can also purchase it on the website. And I'm gonna spritz it a couple times with the misting spray. If you don't have the misting spray, you could also use the Lavaderm Cooling Mist, or Young Living on their blog actually has a finishing spray that they have a recipe for that's also really wonderful, and you could use that as well. So I've sprayed my brush, then I'm going to pat that into my minerals, tap off the excess, and then you're just gonna put that on in circular motions. Just like that. Now my brush already feels kind of dry because I probably didn't aim very well on this video. So I'm gonna spritz it again. The reason I like to spritz it, and why a lot of people like to spritz it, it just makes the application a little bit smoother. You have more control with it that way too, making sure that you get it where you want it. Just make sure you tap off the excess, or you're gonna have minerals everywhere. And that's one of the other good things about using the misting spray. It kind of holds those minerals a little bit better. And because I put the Seedlings Diaper Rash Cream under my eye, something happened, I'm sorry. I want to make sure that I cover that up with the powder. Okay. So this redness that I have right here, that's a birthmark that I do not know what's going on with that connection. Sorry about that. I'm at home with my Wi-Fi on, so it should not be acting like that. Anyway, so I have a birthmark. It gets redder when I'm stressed or when other things are going on. It's more visible actually on this video than it is in real life. I don't mess with it. I mean, if you have a really big issue with like a skin imperfection or something that you have, you could take more minerals and, you know, just go over the birthmark. I don't really mess with it. I just leave it be. But that's how you can conceal issues that you have. So you're gonna kind of bake it so that using the sponge and apply a lot to a certain area. And then you're gonna go over it with your foundation brush, and that's gonna help to blend everything together. Forgot my neck. Okay. It's very weird to see yourself on a camera and try to do your makeup in a camera as opposed to the mirror. The lighting in here, it looks better in person than it does on the camera. So next thing what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a little bit of our Crowned All Over. That's one of our bronzers. And so I like it. I have pretty fair skin. So the Crowned All Over is a really pretty shimmery color. It's not really dark. So for those people who want to contour and do things like that, you probably need a darker color foundation. But that's not my skill set, and we're not gonna do that today. So what I've done is I have applied it to a kind of a looser brush. I don't have the whole Savvy line, but you would use your bronzer blush. And what you're gonna do is you're basically gonna create like a 3. So that's the top loop of my 3 and the bottom of your 3. And you're gonna do that on both sides. So kind of think about where the sun would hit if you were out in the sun. And then a little bit on your nose, okay? So that's where you're going to apply your bronzer. I apply a lot of different things. Thank you, Natalia. But I don't use a very heavy hand, so it still looks pretty natural when I'm all done. Next up, I'm gonna do blush. And I have the I Do Believe You're Blushing, and that's from the starter kit. And with the blush, what I'm gonna do is just a little bit just on the apples of my cheeks. Just like, that, okay? Alrighty. Then I really like eyebrows. And that's kind of a newer thing. I didn't care about my eyebrows before, but it's something that I become much more diligent about applying. And because my hair is pretty white, platinum colored, it's actually natural. I stopped dyeing it about 1.5 years ago, and so it's very white, but it's funny how I get more compliments on it with its natural shade than when I ever dyed it before. Anyway, that's off topic. The color that I use for my eyebrows is Light, the Multitasker Light. And what I do for this is I just put a little bit in the lid with an angled brush. I have to look in the mirror on this one. And then I just kind of fill it in a little bit. The reason eyebrows are so important is they frame your face. And I think I did a post in this group, it's been a while now, but I did a side-by-side comparison on all the different ways you can use your multitasker and the subtle differences, but big differences that it makes. So if you just look at my eyes right now, it just frames your face so much better. And so even without applying a lot of product or a lot of eyeshadow colors, you get a big, I apologize, my phone is acting really wonky today. Okay. I'm gonna leave out my Multitasker Light. Well, I guess we could do that now. Okay, good grief. I'm gonna give you another tip. So I'm using the same brush and I'm using my Multitasker Light. But what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna spritz my brush. So this is an angled brush. And then I'm gonna put that into the minerals. Again, this is the Multitasker Light. And I'm rubbing that in there. It's kind of like a paste. So I have chapstick on my lips, but I'm actually gonna line them now with the Multitasker Light. So one of the pet peeves, or I've heard people complain, people who really like makeup, with the Savvy Minerals is they don't have any lip liners. Well, you can make your own lip liner using the products that we do have. Now, if you don't have the Multitasker Light, or whatever multitasker matches your tone more closely, you could use one of your eyeshadow colors. Okay, I'm not gonna leave it like this, by the way. But this is, because I'm using it, I decided to just go ahead and use it. So that's how you can get a lip liner. Okay. Alrighty. So let's move on. I can't leave my lips like that. So I'm gonna put on some lipstick. One of my favorites is Adore, because it's just like a neutral color, and that'll help blend in that lip liner. I usually do my lips last, but I couldn't stand looking at just that line. Okay. So because of my skin type, I do get oily eyelids, which makes it hard for my eyeshadows to sometimes stay on without creasing. So one of the tips that I've learned is you can use your chapstick, and what I do is I use the lavender. I mean, you could use the other ones, but I don't really want cinnamon or grapefruit on my eyelids, but that's just me. So I just put a little bit on my finger and then a little bit on my eyelids. What that does is it just gives a nice sticking place for your minerals to go. Then, because our Best Kept Secret is a base for your eyeshadow, so if you don't have, Facebook world is testing me today, but it's okay. We're gonna get through it. So if you don't have oily eyelids, you can use the Best Kept Secret as your eyeshadow base. Okay, and so I apply this from lashes all the way to my eyebrow because it is a base. So it's not giving really color, it's just creating a good starting point for everything else. Now, when I watch Melissa Pepping's videos on her makeup, this is one product that you don't want to use the misting spray on. So a lot of people like to use the misting spray to create a more bright makeup look, and that's great. But she said that the way the Best Kept Secret is designed and the way that it's formulated, it's not formulated for best use with the misting spray. So even if you like to do that look, don't use that on your Best Kept Secret. All right. So I want to use this color. I'm going to show you Spoiled, which is in the starter kit too. And we'll show you the foiling technique on this one. So you have a nice light peach color. And so if you apply just that color, I want to show you the difference. So this is what that looks like, right? It's not super visible, right? You get a nice pretty sheen. So if I spray my eyeshadow brush and then apply it in the minerals, and then see what a difference that makes? It just makes it a little more vibrant. So we'll do that, even though I'm just going to the car wash. And I think my daughter has an orthodontist appointment today because, you know, it's a day off during the week for President's Day. So what I'm gonna do is, I call it like a V. So this is the crease of your eye. So I'm gonna apply it in the crease of my eye and then bring it in a little bit towards the edge. So hopefully that will make sense. So since I have the foil method, I just kind of pat it in and then bring it in. So go like that. If I'm making funny faces while I apply my makeup and you're getting nostril shots, I really apologize. Okay, so this, again, this is not a really bright color. Something that looks fun too is after you've applied it wet, you can always go back over it. With the loose powders. Okay. And I'm just kind of cleaning off my makeup brush in between because I don't want all the colors to mix. I need to grab a wipe. Your Seedlings wipes are great for makeup too because you can clean your brushes off as you go. And then you just want it a little bit drier than what your Seedlings wipe will leave it. So just have like a tissue or something nearby. Okay. You see kind of a difference, even though it's such a subtle color, it does make it much more vibrant by using the foiling method. Then if I need to redo this, I will, or I'll post a better, like I'll edit it and post it better later. Because this is not cool how many times it's being interrupted. Maybe it's not being interrupted for you guys, but my phone keeps saying it's being interrupted. So, sorry, I should tell you what I'm using now. So I'm using Wanderlust. It's a really nice shimmery color. It's a very light shade. Now, because I don't want this shade to be more dramatic or bright than it already is, I'm not going to foil it. But you could if you wanted to. And I'm going to apply that right under my eyebrow for some highlight. And to help support that feeling of being awake, I'm going to put a little bit on the corner, on the inside of my eye. Just like that. Okay. So not a lot. You don't want a heavy hand with the Wanderlust because it is so shimmery and white. You don't want to look a little funky, okay? All right, what else do I want to do? So if I want to, let's say I'm going out at night and I want to add a little bit more color, what we could do Sorry, I'm making this up as I go. I'm going to use Determined. So Determined is a really nice kind of coppery brown shade. Okay. And so I'm going to use a different brush this time, kind of like a circular brush like that. I don't know what type of brush that would be considered, but I go more for shape than what the brush tells me that it's going to do. And then just to add a little extra right in this corner edge right here, I'm just going to add a little bit of color. Again, I'm not going out today, so this is probably more than I would wear on my typical I'm just running errands look, but it's okay. See, just a little bit of definition. And that color is called Determined. Now you could use Determined as your eyeshadow color. Should we do that? Sure, let's do that. So my tip for eyeliners, excuse me, is to use an empty contact lens container. Sorry, the word escaped me for a minute. So what I do, this one has browns in it. So I take a little bit of my eyeshadow color, and this is for more than one use. So if you feel like you're dumping a lot in there, don't worry. You'll be able to use it more than once. Okay, so I dump a little bit of eyeshadow in there. Don't know if you can see that super well. But anyway, there's a little bit of eyeshadow in there. Then I spray my misting spray inside. Okay, and then what I use is a fine pointed brush, and I'm gonna mix the misting spray with the eyeshadow together. And what you're looking for right now, it's a little bit too soupy. So I'm just gonna add more eyeshadow. And so if you want to reuse this product, what you're gonna do is you're kind of reconstitute it by just adding a little bit more misting spray the next time that you go to put eyeliner on. Okay. So if it's too liquidy, what's gonna happen is it's gonna take a long time to dry, and then it could stick, show on the top part of your eyelid, and you don't want that. So I want mine a little bit darker actually because it's a little too light for me. I like a more pronounced line. So I'm adding just a tiny bit of my Jet Setter, which is actually made to be an eyeliner. So I just added some black into there, and I'm going to mix it again. Just because I want an eyeliner that's a little bit darker than that Determined shade I used. Okay. So it looks like a mess, but it works. Okay. So I just want a little bit on my eyeliner, on my brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that as close to my eyelashes as possible. Some people pull their eyelids to get a straight line. I don't do that typically because the skin around your eyes is so sensitive anyway, and more prone to aging. So I try to be as gentle as I can. So there you go. I don't line the underneath my eyes. If you could, you just do the same thing. I feel that when I do that, I line the bottom of my eyes. It just closes my eyes in too much. And so I like just doing it underneath. Alrighty. Then we're going to apply mascara. We're already almost done. Can you believe it? There's just 2 more things that I want to show you. So first is 3 more things. I lied. Okay, so first with the mascara, I do have the Savvy Minerals mascara. There's a lot of product on this brush, so I actually wipe a lot off into my cap. I just find that that works the best for me. And then when you apply mascara, you want to start at the root and then you want to zigzag it up. If you really want to make them look longer, go from the back to, and then zigzag somewhere. Oops. Okay, so I use 2 coats of mascara, so I got to do that same thing on the other side. It takes a little patience, but it's worth it. Okay. So again, you're just gonna, once you catch your eyelashes in your mascara wand, that's when you zigzag. And then I kind of brush. And then get it from the back. I got interrupted and then it got gucky. So if you ever have that happen, where you get more than you want, I just go through and just touch it with my fingers, and then that pulls off whatever you don't want. Let me look in my mirror real quick. There we go. Okay. Okay, so that's coming along. Okay, just a couple more things. So using my big fluffy brush, I take my Diamond Veil Dust or Diamond Dust Veil. I don't ever call it the right thing. Now, when I first started using this, I use it all over just to set everything in place. There's another way you can use it too. Okay, so I use it over everything. Some people said it makes their skin too shiny. I don't find that to be the case. You can take a little bit extra and use it to highlight like your cheekbones right here, just for it to catch a little bit more light. You can also use it over your lips. It dries off your color a little bit, and so that's gonna make your lipstick last a little bit longer. And one more tip, if you want your lashes to be really long and hold more mascara, you can add a little bit to your mascara too. So what I did is I just kind of touched my eyelashes. Can't speak today. So that just kind of coats it just a tiny bit. I just keep Q-tips handy to touch up anything that goes where I don't want it to. Again, coat off your mascara, clean your wand. And then I just apply my second coat over that. Now there are obviously 5-minute faces, which is what I do most days. But we just wanted to show more of the options that are available with all things Savvy Minerals. So that's why I did more than maybe I would on a normal day. And then what I would probably do is top it off with a little bit of lip gloss. Just like that. Alrighty. I apologize again for all those little glitches. Hopefully you were still able to follow along and learn some tips and tricks on how to use your Savvy Minerals. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. I'll go back and watch this, and if it's super, super bad, I'll probably just do a recording and then maybe add that in the comments or something so that you guys get a better video if needed. So I'll go back and watch, because I know sometimes things have glitched out and it hasn't been as bad in the replay. So I'll check that out. But let me know whatever questions or comments you have. And then the final thing that I like to do when I'm all done is I take a little bit of the Everyday Face Spray. This is a recipe over on Lindsay Elmore's page. It's just a hydrating face spray. It has a variety of essential oils, and it has jojoba oil in it. And so I just spritz when I'm all done. I like that it makes it a little bit more of a dewy look. Anything that might have gotten a little too powdery or too heavy, it's all done. So there is, hey Jennifer, so there's my Savvy face. It took a little longer than I expected, so my apologies for that. But let me know if you have any questions. All right, you guys have an amazing President's Day.